Hey, Dimitri and Chris, thank you so much for the turnarounds. Today we're taking a look at the towers that we have for the buildings, or the buildings, they're towering buildings, I guess. And we're taking a look at what their armaments will look like. So again, coming back to what this looks like in game, so you can see it as well. We should keep that in mind, right? We have, I think this is it. Let's see here. Nope, that's not it. One second. Oh, maybe it is. All right. I just have to do this. Cooch to tooch. Right. Interesting. Things are shifting around again in our world. All right. So yeah, this is just a mini version of that. Let me take this over here. Let's do that. There for the moment. Come on. And over there, just for the moment. These back over here. All right, cool. And I think I pretty much have a broken building here because we've been changing the art. So I'll adjust that as well. But basically, it's the same kind of concept. So again, coming back to take a look. So what I imagine, and I think these things are oversized for the size of the building at the moment, just the way we have them set up in game. But we basically have two types, right? We have this this kind of plasma cannon laser thing, and then we have this like missile barrage silo. So we're designing for this in particular, and we have essentially the base, which you can see here, right? And then we have the because it's a turret type enemy, and then we have the turret just like what we did for the materializer tank. So it's the same concept, and then what we have here is you can see these popping up. As we'll have in the world. These buildings will come up and they will come down, and those will have they'll have things for you to shoot at and things that will shoot at you. So again, I think this is the wrong scale for these at the moment. We're still kind of working on that, but I think the reason why I'm showing you the functionality is because they can come up, they can also come down. They'll be attached to these things. They can have stuff on top. We're still working out kind of what that looks like. So then when we come to looking at the last round of iteration. So very cool exploration. Thank you so much. I'm glad to see this stuff. What I kind of did is I need to do two things, right? So one is we delivered this all, what is this? Like this. Hello. Oh, it's probably because that's the base layer. So you delivered the turrets, and then you delivered the bases. And to look at one set of images, because they're coupled together, and another set of images, that definitely is not working for me. So I appreciate the exploration, but we need one image, and then I need to see mechanically how these things are going to work together. Because if we treat it as exploring two different things, then we lose the cohesiveness of trying to understand mechanically and aesthetically how these things come together. And we can't look at these individually. We have to look at them in the context of, like, think of the building as basically an enemy delivery system, right? And so we need to also, with the next round of iterations, not only see them, we can see the individual turrets, we can see the bases, then we can see your pairing of the bases and turrets, and then we need to see them just on the buildings to get a sense for what they look like. So it's going to be a much bigger image, but I think we have to be able to look at it in that way in order to understand how all the pieces come together. So I did some thinking about it tonight, as you can see here. So what I did here is I basically just added check marks to the things that I think are worth continuing to explore. So here, I like that we had this kind of like projector cannon thing. Again, this could be for a cool set of the plasma laser. It also, we could go wider in the width here and have that for like the missile silo. So I think, you know, Dimitri, when he did his very like just coarse explorations here, there's something interesting about this array of missiles. And again, when you take a look at these guys too, right? They are, you know, they're shooting a bunch of missiles. So, and I think we're going to keep those missiles. So that's kind of the functionality for them. And then we have this other side, and we might do kind of a Gatling turret thing. It might be a plasma laser. But that was kind of the gist of it. All right. So with that being said, that's kind of what I was thinking. And then here, I kind of like the shape of this cannon. It's kind of got like this interesting pylon. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit of like get a little bit of Halo inspiration in there. What I'd love to do is I'd love to see this maybe, you know, a multi or a double barrel or something like this. Maybe it needs to be thicker. But I want to explore that and see kind of how that is working. So with this, I like this, you know, like the dome thing on the back. We're getting a little too close in terms of alien shapes. So, you know, but there's something interesting that I want to explore with this too. I like that we had this, this middle point of the barrel. I feel like this again could be spinning, could be shooting out like a lot of different missiles, or something to that effect. I really enjoy this kind of double barrel gun thing that we've got going on here. So I think that's also worth exploring, continue to explore with the next iteration. And then down here, so here I'm trying to start to think about how these things are going to come together, right? So that's why I want to see us explore the base with the weapon in conjunction, right? So I like what's going on here to some degree. And you know, I think if I kind of move this stuff over, maybe I do these. It's all grayscale. So the answer is no, not easily. So, but so I think what I was getting to is if I do one of these thingos, happy bits. All right, and then let's get some this goodness here. All right, key. And so I think, you know, like they're probably on the outside of the buildings. The rendering changed, I think, you know, with the last iteration of these buildings. If I take a look at what we had in game here, oh yeah, they've been updated here. So yeah, fair enough. Compared to our previous version. So I know the perspectives are a little bit interesting, but yeah. So I think, you know, when I'm taking a look at these things, trying to understand how do they slot in or fit, you know, like I think that's the kind of what you guys are thinking here. But again, I'm more of a visual creature, so I need to kind of understand it from my side, right? So when I take a look at one of these things, and then I take a look at like this guy here. All right. Oh, that didn't work. Hello, pushing the right buttons, please. Hello, hello, buttons. Lasso, yes. Pointer, yes. There. Come on, daddy-o. All right. Maybe I failing at Photoshop. That is the day-to-day. All right. So we got no pixels. Yeah, okay. So yeah, select the layer, daddy. What's going on? So that's that layer, sure. What's this layer? Maybe that's, oh, it's probably because that's the background layer. Okay. Let's make a duplicate. I want to delete it. Okay. And then those, and now I know what's going on. All right. So, for instance, get on up here. Get one of these, and yeah, I messed it up a little bit, but you know. So I think this is sort of what we're thinking about, right? Which I can start to see how it's coming together. But what you guys are making me do right now is I have to construct these things in my brain to understand how all of it is fitting together. And then again, against the building itself, right? And then we also need to get our, you know, like, it's probably not one of these. I think it's too small, right? We want jumbo size armory, or weaponry. So you know, it's like, then it becomes like how do these things balance against each other? Make it bigger. Is it one of these guys? Probably a little too big, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see here. Boop. You know, I mean, it covers up the whole thing, the whole building that itself, which is kind of cool. In terms of building face, maybe that becomes the answer. And then the other thing I'm super excited about, right, is that when we blow these things up, we're gonna have their destroyed states, and I really want to have like the scorch marks and like the chunks out of the building. We'll do them as decals. but it'll feel like you're like the things you're doing have more impact in the environment, right? So, yeah, so that's what we need to play with to kind of understand how all the pieces come together, right? And that was what I was trying to explore. So, anyways, coming back to this, I kind of like some of the shapes here, but then my brain goes, well, how does this again come side of the building? There's something interesting here, maybe with the mount arms. Maybe that they're detachable. I'm not entirely sure. You know, and then here I can see how these could be this cool, like, you know, like force field, like magnetized, attachment points to the building. So I wanted to see to explore that. I really like the shape here. This is a pretty good shape. There's something really, really cool about this particular shape. And, you know, so, you know, but you can kind of see where I'm going, right? I think what I need us to think about the designs together. I bet you I can, something like this. Yeah, better. All right, Q. But then I start to maybe it's something like this. Ooh, that might be kind of cool, right? I mean, here the cool part about like a combination of the weapon point mounts could be something like this, could be like that. That might be cool. I start to like, you know, I can kind of get a sense for then in game, this thing is going to be like, brr, brr, right? Like the rotation point will be right here. Is the rotation point something like that? Yeah. So pew pew, rah, shoot the bad guys, rah, 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 or whatever it might be, right? So, yeah, so I think when I start to see these shapes here, I get kind of excited about how they might come together, and how the designs kind of will complement each other. So coming down to here, kind of an interesting, like it's stuck to the back of the building. I think the base is probably maybe too wide, but I kind of like some of the ideas and thinking with the shapes here. I like kind of like this thing that you got going on here. We got these electric conduits here. Super cool. We talked about that. This thing, I like the idea, but this thing totally reminds me of a creepy face. It's like a creepy crawly face machine. I like it, but yeah, so that's the sort of thinking I have there. All right. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I like where we're going. This next revision, just as a recap, turrets, bases can be individual, one big sheet, turrets, bases connected, turrets, bases on the buildings, to see how they are all going to come together, right? Because I think we have, again, if we come and take a look at this, maybe, you know, we have two types of buildings. And so we also need to think about, like, you know, how do these things mount to these buildings? Are they in the center or something like this, right? Could be the answer. Are they on the edges? I'm not entirely sure. We can do whatever we want, but I also wanted to make it feel like it kind of belongs, right? And, you know, aside from, at least that the geometry complements itself, even though they're separate images. Okay, I'll go and do a screen cap of this, and I'll get this video up, and we will speak to you all next time. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. We always read all those things, and this is the time because we're still early concepting. Talk to you all later. Thank you.